using moving averages to buy and sell. Hi, it's Charlie giving you Tuesday's video, Tuesday/Vet Wednesday. Hope you're very well. And so I was asked a question on the channel here about how could you go about using moving averages to buy and sell whatever the market is. And so what I've got on my chart here, I've just got my blue moving average is a 20, doesn't matter if it's a 21. They're close enough to one another. A 20, a 50, and then I've got a 100 and a 200 on here. I'm actually only going to focus on the 20 and the 50 really here. So yes, you can buy pullbacks into moving averages. I look at moving averages at times for buying pullbacks or selling pullbacks if it's a downwards trend. But how do you go about doing it? What else do you need to be doing? And I think the reality is that yes, you can look historically at moving averages and say, yes, I could have bought through here or whatever. But there's plenty of times when moving averages, pullbacks into moving averages don't amount to anything and price goes flying through them as well, of course. So how can you go about using it? And so partly I'm going to ask you, the viewers, to say, well, what would you combine it with? But I'm going to give you a couple of ideas here as well. So what we've got here is a pullback on this chart. This is Euro Aussie. We've just gone through this in the trading room. I've literally just asked traders in the trading room for their answers on what could we look for. What would be something which would be fairly technically sound. And so what a number of them have said is using not only the moving average, so we can see that price has pulled back to the 20 here, also the 200 as it turns out, but also into these prior highs as well. So using technical highs and lows combined with a pullback into a moving average. So that's quite a clean one where it's got a nice singular technical high here and then pivoted away from that, then has come back up and then has pulled back into it, and then we've got the moving average there. So that's actually quite a nice one there on that chart. Then we've got a nice little one here on the euro pound today. Again, we were just looking for some technical examples, and here's yet another one where we've got this point where prices come up, is pulled back into the 50, and then it's pulled back into the 50 and the 20 there, and again it's all in that same zone of where these prior old highs were as well. So that's quite a nice clean one as well, where you're combining a moving average in line with prior highs or prior lows. And then lastly, another member mentioned something on oil on an hourly chart as well, just going back to the beginning of December actually, if I've not gone too far. I have. As a sell example would be, sorry, the dog's barking in the background there, and that one would be combined with these prior lows here into that. So these lows there and there combined with the price over here hitting the 50 period moving average. And I think what's also important as a little reminder is when you're looking at these, is it a first test or it's the first time that it's tested that moving average in a long time? If it's been hitting the moving average many times, then it might be that it's about to go for a breakout and a breakthrough. But if it's the first test in a long time, or even the first test since price broke through the 50 way back here, and this was the first challenge of it over here, then I place a greater weighting on first tests or the first test in a long time to that. If it had already come up and hit the 50 here and here and here, then I would be less inclined to be interested in that. So this is just a few examples there for you today. By all means, that we're just talking about combining pullbacks into moving averages with technical support or resistance. What else could you use? By all means, answers on a postcard, and to see what other people might use, because there are so many other combinations that you could use. You can use moving averages with Fibonacci's, for example. You could combine it with stuff like that. But again, there's no right or wrong answer, and it's a case of people finding what combinations right for them. But certainly, pullbacks into moving averages, it's great if you've got combinations, whether those combinations are what we've just talked about in today's video or whether there's other ones, and I better not say anything more because otherwise I'm going to give other examples out. But let's see what we get in the comment section today.